introduction for everyone who's going to be joining me in presenting today. As I said, my name is Chris Lolley. I'm the Director of Prevent Child Abuse Florida. I have with me today Gabby Holland in our office, who's going to help me be able to make it through this presentation and broadcast, so to speak. Gabby's just joined us. She's an MSW student at FSU. She's already so much smarter than I am. I don't want to admit it, but you know, I have to say, Gabby, can you teach me how to do this? Gabby, can you tell me how to do that? And she's been very gracious. So thank you, Gabby, for helping me out. I appreciate it. Also have with us Ken Roland, who I'll talk quite a bit more about in just a minute when I do his formal introduction. And also with us, we have Amanda Throndsen from the Department of Health. And I've asked Amanda to join us for a couple of specific reasons, which she'll talk about when it's her turn. But I also want y'all, everyone out there, to know how many hats Amanda wears and to help us all connect the dots in terms of sharing resources, having the knowledge, the information across the state. As I said to my colleagues a few minutes ago, I think we're doing a pretty good job of helping spread awareness of water safety. And even though we say water safety, we want to prevent drowning. That's what we want to do. We know how many children die every year due to tragedies such as not just kids drowning in the beach or drowning in swimming pools, but we lose a lot of kids who drown in bathtubs and sinks when they're getting baths, and who fall, toddlers that fall into mop buckets and 5-gallon buckets that are full of water. So we're going to cover a lot of territory. We're going to start out, though, I'll just tell you a little about Amanda and I talked for a few years now, and one of the things we both found was some national campaigns from other countries. And one of them was from Australia. It's called Keep Watch. So if you're interested in finding out more about Australia's national campaign to prevent drowning, you can check them out online. I'm sure y'all can find that information by searching for it. But we wanted to adopt some of the things that were readily available to us, and that's where we really took the phrase keep watch from, because it applies to every circumstance that we find ourselves in when children are near water, when they have access to water. And y'all know how much water is in Florida. I don't have to tell anybody who lives here how much water and how readily accessible water or bodies of water are in our state. Unfortunately, every year, year in and year out, the #1 taker of lives for children 4 and under in Florida is death due to drowning. So in an effort to help remind everyone to keep your eyes on the kids, we say keep watch, Florida, keep watch. Keep your eyes on the children. And this summer, we want to just further encourage you all to help us spread the word through the use of our toolkit, which I hope you've all seen by now, through the use of all the tools, the Learn to Swim books that Amanda, the Department of Health, and Prevent Child Abuse Florida and the Department of Children and Families have all made available for order. If you'd like more information about that, you can all email me or text us a question or us a question in the chat. We can provide you more information on that. But otherwise, I'll just say stay tuned to our social media pages and to follow us and help us magnify the message that we do need to keep a watch on our children. We do need to keep watch, and that applies when they're around anywhere for that matter, but especially when they have access to bodies of water or in or near the water. To get us started this morning, I could talk about Ken Roland. It would take me about 30 minutes to tell you all the achievements that Ken has had in his career, but I'll pick out some of the most pertinent. I think Ken will be able to tell us more, but I just want y'all to know that Ken really, in his second or third career now, Ken, I can't keep up with how many things that you've done, and it's very impressive. But a lot of it started with a car accident that left you in pretty bad shape, I understand. Going through that adversity, I really think you would say, and you can certainly tell us more, provided a new focus and new energy to you in some of the things that you do. And among other things, Ken is the chairman of the board for Diversity in Aquatics. He's vice president of Every Child a Swimmer. That there's a little more information that goes along with that. But he's also the chief executive officer of CPR Etc. And he brings a wealth of experience and many years of knowledge around CPR, swim instruction for children across the country. And really, since his accident, Kim became the first African American lifeguard lieutenant in charge of a Caucasian white beach patrol on the East Coast of the USA. He's a certified EMT, a lifeguard instructor trainer, a water safety instructor trainer. This, like I said, I could go on and on and on. I think one of the things Ken and I share in common our families are very important to us. And now he has a chance to run his business with his son Jacob, and now his grandson Judah is in on the team. So he formed Swim Central in Broward County, and they provided swimming lessons to more than 650,000. That's more than 500,000 elementary school children. And get this, y'all, as I like to say, at no cost, at no charge. Ken's an innovator. He's also a musician, and he's tried to marry those, or has married those. He's done a lot of other things too, but among those things, the International Swimming Hall of Fame 2012 honoree for the G. Harold Martin Award, and he's also received the American Red Cross Top Provider Awards in 17 through 19. Ken, that's quite impressive. I knew you were impressive already, but I just really didn't have as much of an idea as I thought I did till I read all that. So we're so glad to have you with us this morning, Ken. Thank you for joining us, and I turn it over to you, my friend.
Well, thank you, my brother from another mother. How's everybody? Give me a thumbs up if you're feeling good. So the main thing that this is all about today is to keep watch, Florida. We need to keep watch on our children. We need to make sure that we preach this gospel of water safety so that we can go all around the state, all around the world, just making sure that we can save lives and make a difference in people. So with that and no further ado, we're just going to jump right into the presentation here. Keep watch, Florida. So I want to tell you a little bit more about me. Let me just share a short little video. I am the African American Achiever for the, I got the JM Family Enterprise African American Award, Achiever Award. And here's a little video presentation that they had made up concerning this award.
I was born by the New River. The New River is right there in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I was born in this hospital called Good Samaritan Hospital, which is right down the street from Provident Hospital. My uncle, his name is Moses Buddy Wilcox, and he was a swimming instructor. And he was the aquatic supervisor at the Sunland Park Pool in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so at the age of 2, he threw me in the water, and I made it to the wall, and every day I've been swimming ever since. And you could not be a Roland if you did not know how to swim. I started helping with swimming lessons as a little kid, and then I learned CPR, and I became a junior lifeguard, and then I became a lifeguard, became a water safety instructor, and I started teaching people, and that was really the genesis of everything as far as my teaching people life-saving skills. Fun fact, I was on tour with the Temptations. Oh yeah, I'm a musician, and that's one of the great things that aids me in what I do. I make it fun for you, so I use music, mascots, and drowning prevention. I wrote 7 songs about water safety and CPR.
Looking up, your head in the water, belly up, your back is straight, relax, you'll be floating too.
In November of 1980, I was in a bad automobile accident, and long story short, I had a near-death experience after the accident when they were trying to repair. My heart went into what's called ventricular fibrillation, where it was just quivering like this. And so they shocked me, and then it brought my heart back to its normal rhythm like this. And so that brought me back. And so I have what's called retrograde amnesia. I don't remember anything from 1980 back. Well, I had to learn how to walk and talk all over again. I knew how to swim. And one of the things that I had to do was every day religiously, I walked down the street from my grandmother's house to the pool, and we jumped in the water, and I swam my mile, and then I hobbled back again with my cane back to the house. And I did this religiously until I was strong enough that I could actually become a lifeguard. One thing that I learned from that near-death experience is that life has purpose. And my purpose is to teach you, the public, life-saving skills. We are all here to do something. And so you have to find out what that is, and you have to groom it, and you have to work at it, and so that you can become the best at it. And so mentorship is one of the things that I want to constantly do, because I have reached this height, a poor guy from the projects, government projects. If I can rise to go to Purdue University and get a degree there and start my company now and train 650,000 children how to swim and water safety and teaching hundreds of thousands of people CPR, if I could do that, just imagine what you could do with somebody's help. Aquatics is an area that everybody can achieve in, especially African Americans. Everybody can float. Everybody can swim. And so all you have to do is learn those techniques. The African American was the greatest swimmer on the planet for thousands of years. So the myth that we don't know how to swim and we can't swim, it's just a myth. You can do it because I did it, and you can do it too.
So that's just a little bit about me. And I like to get the party started, because I like music. And so as the chairman of the board for diversity in aquatics, we all want to make sure that you understand that we do things together. We have to do things together. When the water rises, all boats rise. So as a partner with diversity in aquatics, we can do many things. And one of the things I want to share with you is one of those songs that I wrote concerning water safety. All right, now here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready on the left? Are you ready on the right? Now, when people play soccer, they kick a ball. And some people like to play kick the can. And older people say, when people dance, they kick up there. But this ain't about kicking your brother or sister, and it ain't about kicking your dog. It's a kick that moves you through the water. It's a kick that moves you when you swim. Because swimming is a happening thing when you got that funky kick. Yeah, swimming is a happening thing when you got the moves. Don't bend your knees, kick from your hips, straighten out your legs when you kick. Don't bend your knees, kick from your hips, straighten out your legs when you kick. Don't bend your knees, kick from your hips, straighten out your legs when you kick. Don't bend your knees, kick from your hips, straighten out your legs when you kick. Now, one of the things I want to show you is that you have to put your head down when you swim, because it's all about moving through the water. Now put your head down, put your chin on your chest, put your head down. You fly like the rest, put your head down. It makes you swim best, put your head down. Put your chin on your chest. Everybody say, ho, 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 ho. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Put your head down. Put your chin on your chest. Put your head down. You fly like the rest. Put your head down. It makes you swim best. Put your head down. Put your chin on your chest. Now hold up. Wait a minute. Everybody hold your hands up. You're going to close the fingers. Are you ready? Here we go. Now dig. Everybody now dig. Dig when you swim with your hands. Everybody now dig. Dig when you swim. Hold up. Wait a minute. I think we have to say this again. Are you ready? Dig. One more time. Dig. Dig. Everybody now dig. Let me see you dig. Dig when you swim with your hands. Everybody now dig. Dig when you swim. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's put a different stroke in it. We're going to pull the water back. These are the motions of swimming. Pull that water back. Stroke. Stroke. Pull that water back. Stroke. Pull that water. Pull the water back, baby. Okay, now we're gonna raise the roof. We gotta celebrate this occasion. Are you ready? I got the power. This is the hour. This is the water, and I can swim. I got the power. This is the hour. This is the water, and we can swim. I got the power. Raise the roof, baby. This is the hour, and we can swim. I got the power. This is the hour. This is the water, and we can swim. All right. Now that we got a little things happening here, we're going to stop things. And I want to make sure that you understand our focus. And our focus really is focusing on the underserved in the water safety education arena. You know, these are facts, and these are some background information here. And so there's a lack of instructors in community-based aquatic programs who look like people like me. And many times you don't have empathy for those folks, especially if you don't come from that particular demographic. And so there is an aquatic minority gap that has deep roots in American history here. In the early 20th century, many pools were racially segregated and few were built to serve the Black community. So there was a limitation as far as the access to water. There are inequalities that are compounded by widespread misconceptions fueled by flawed academic studies stating that Black swimming ability was compromised by a buoyant deficiency. So according to John Cusack, who is a former USA swimming diversity specialist, these long-held beliefs were still so potent that you don't teach children how to swim, you're putting your grandchildren at risk. If you don't teach them how to swim, you're putting them at risk. Many Blacks and Hispanic and Latinx children view swimming as a white sport. And so what we really need to focus on here is that nearly 6 out of 10 African American and Hispanic Latino children are unable to swim. So this truly is an underserved segment of our community. And these are the folks that are drowning at a significant rate higher than their white counterparts. And also, don't forget, there is a big disparity too when we talk about gender. Girls have various barriers too that are different than males, and that makes them kind of uncomfortable into pools as well. So our vision with diversity in aquatics is to empower communities to have equitable access to SMART. And SMART, I mean, you want to make sure that they're water smart. You want to make sure that they understand the swimming methods and rescue techniques that will save their lives. So our mission basically is we started a Teach One, Save One project, which focuses on efforts to promote saving lives by educating them. These are like our pillars that we establish our program on. We want to educate folks, we want to promote water safety, and then give support to everybody right around the nation, as well as throughout the state and throughout your neighborhood right now. We strive to provide a platform that empowers voices to create change. We develop a collective resource of aquatic professionals, athletes, and enthusiasts, and we enable communities with the necessary tools to eliminate the drowning disparity and provide opportunities in aquatics among the underserved populations. Here is just an example of some of the current needs in aquatics. We have to address and eliminate barriers. There are many barriers to action when it comes to the aquatic arena and narrowing that great disparity when it comes to those drowning statistics and drowning access to water. So we need to increase water safety and drowning prevention awareness and education, and we need to curb the drowning disparities. So you need to keep watch, Florida. You need to make sure that you understand the motions of swimming. You want to make sure that you know what to do in the event of an emergency. You know who to call, and you know who to reach out to. And there are many organizations throughout the state, throughout your community, that are just waiting for you to engage with them, to help them, because people really truly want to learn. And as our state opened back up after this COVID-19 scare, we just want to make sure then that we let people know that having equitable access to water and to remove some of these barriers to action really is paramount in saving the lives of many of our children. Hey, wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Here you go. You and you're standing in the water, and your friend, he falls into the water. But you may be the greatest swimmer. But if you want to be the greatest friend, you better help him. Don't. Here we go. Now reach or throw. Don't go. 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 Say ho. Say ho, ho. Say ho, ho, ho. Somebody scream. Here we go now. You know, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing you want to do is dive into the water and try to save someone if you don't know the proper technique. Everybody say, help! You want to call 911. Remember that phone number. Hey, you want to take something like a broom or a mop, something to extend your reach, or you can throw something that floats like a ball and just tell them to kick their feet. Everybody say, kick your feet. But remember this one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Don't jump in. Reach or throw. Don't go. Let me hear you say reach or throw. Don't go. Reach or throw. Don't go. Reach or throw. Don't. One more time. Reach or throw. Don't go. 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 Now, if you want to be cool like Chris, you got to do like this. Yeah, with his bad self. That's funny, Chris. And I want you to understand, it was his idea to make sure that we had this theme about keeping your eyes on your kids. So that's one of the things that you do. Many of the things that happen as far as these drownings, they occur when there's not adequate adult supervision. So that's the general theme that we really want you to understand, is that you have to keep watch on the kids. Not only the kids, not only your cell phone, not only all these other things that we seem to be doing in today's modern society, but it's always that adequate lack of adult supervision that causes these problems. And so, you know, so Chris, reaching out for me from Child Abuse Florida is just one of the most greatest honors of my career. So thank you so much for just being a part of the efforts that you do to make a difference in people's lives. So remember this theme here. You're more than welcome.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it. And I know you're a hard act to follow it. I want to ask Amanda to come back on. As I tell people, I wanted everyone to be able to see that, you know, there's a variety of different ways that we can reach people. Ken's message is to those folks who need to be able to hear that there's a way to approach kids. There's a way to approach adults, where you make it fun, where you make it entertaining, where you make it welcoming. And I think your style, Ken, and obviously the blend of your two passions between teaching kids how to swim, teaching anybody how to swim for that matter, it's evident in your style, and your entertainment value alone is worth the price of admission. So thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. And we'll be in touch. You know that. I'll make sure everybody knows how they can get in touch with you if they want you to help them with some programming. But Amanda, I know Ken brought up a lot of points. And in addition to, as I said, wanting everybody to know all the hats that you wear, I know you can talk to us about some of the numbers. And I'm going to change over and start showing some slides so that you can make sure that all of us are aware of what is going on, so that we can know, you know, where the numbers come from. We can understand the differences when we start talking about, you know, well, how many kids drowned due to this, or how many kids, you know, did we say that was due to the reason why Ken mentioned inadequate supervision. So I wanted to make sure that I get these up for you to be able to look at. And now, as I try to do exactly that, then I'm going to say, hopefully, people are going to be able to see my screen. And I don't think I'm quite there yet.
I can see your screen. It's just not in presentation mode.
Okay, good. Okay, because to me it looked like it wasn't there yet. How about that?
There we go.
There we go. That's good.
Thank you. Take it away, Amanda.
You might want to downsize the webcam bar. There you go. Thanks, Ken. That was going to be hard to follow. How is the reaction to the kids when you start singing to them? I bet it's just phenomenal, because little people love music.
Well, one of the things I try to do is use music, mascots, and drowning prevention, you know, so I try to marry all my skills together. So I want to motivate them with the music and give them something they can associate with. That's why I have a Barney type character. And then repetition, you'll see repetition, and then use of senses. Can you feel it, touch it, hear it? You know, so that's what it's all about.
The all-encompassing learning technique. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hello all, I'm Amanda Throndsen. I work for the Florida Department of Health in the Violence and Injury Prevention section. I am currently, so my current title is the Safe Kids Coordinator, which for those of you that do not know what Safe Kids is, it is the organization where all of the safety topics for children 19 and under are housed, for drowning prevention, for occupant protection, so all the car stuff, car seats, seat belts, teen driving. Let's see, what else is there? Helmets, pedestrian safety, bike safety, fire safety, home safety, and the list goes on and on and on. And currently in Florida, there are 15 coalitions throughout the state covering 40 counties. The goal is to get all of the counties in Florida covered and everybody working on water safety and drowning prevention throughout the state. And then not only do I cover all that, I also am the co-chair for Water Smart Florida. Water Smart Florida is the state drowning prevention coalition where people from organizations across the state get together, work on messaging, work on figuring out how do we reduce the drowning numbers in Florida, how do we get information out to everybody, what programs are available. And we've been working on that since I've been here at the Department of Health since 2019. So I've been working on it for 2 full years straight and trying to build and get more people involved and find the right people in each of the organizations that has a stake and has something to bring to the table and knows how to reach into their communities. Because at the state level, I can only do so much. But at the community level, you all can do fabulous and wonderful things. And where Ken is at in Broward County, that is usually where we look for our inspiration because they do phenomenal things down in Broward County for drowning prevention and water safety. So part of what I'm going to talk about is, where do drowning statistics come from? A lot of times the drowning statistics come from many different organizations that collect data and then put it back out. For in real time statistics, we use the Department of Children and Families website that gives us an idea of what the situation was, how old the child was, and the area that they came from. So currently, and this is not a good number to have, currently we're at 37 drownings since January. And it is not the number that we would like to see. And we know in part it has to do with a lot of visitors. We do have quite a few visitors on the list. And these are all just children's statistics. So we have quite a few visitors on the list where the parents either lost track or didn't have the barriers up, or things did not go according to plan, and the child got out of the house and into the water, whether it was the pool, whether it was a lake or a canal or in the ocean. And there are on some of the reports that they are bathtub drownings. And those are some of the harder ones to read about because you would think, oh, hey, it's just going to take me a second to go out and come back. Well, in that second you're gone, things can happen with little people. So for those of you that would like to know where we get a lot of our data from, I have listed all of the websites for easy access. And Chris, I know you're sharing this. So if you don't take a screenshot of it now, you'll get it later when the video comes out. So
yeah, I'm sorry, Amanda. I will be turning this into it'll be on our website as a webinar, and we'll make sure it's readily available.
And this is just quick links so that you can go and look for yourself. All of these are public sites with the exception of the First Watch one. For the Florida charts, which is where I get a lot of my data from, and I also have an epidemiologist, if I can't figure out how to get the information, he finds it for me. And in Florida charts, the numbers don't necessarily match what's on the Department of Children and Families website. And the variation has to do with a lot of times with, did it get reported from the hospital? Did it get reported from EMS? If it didn't get reported, then it's not going to be on that list. It also may be something that with the older kids, those don't necessarily go to the Department of Children and Families. So a lot of times the kids that are in their teens, their story, we don't get to see what it is. And I would love to see a lot of those stories, just because most of the time we know it's in natural water or open water, but we don't know the circumstances around it. Whether were they with friends, were they by themselves? Those kind of details, you know, you can learn and figure out how to work out messaging so that you target the right audience with the right messaging so that they understand what it is that you're trying to tell them. And I forgot, that's part of what I do also with the my section here, is I help work on marketing and messaging so that we're working on the correct correct way and the best messages that reach to the public that go, oh, hey, I didn't think about that. And it's important because when you, as all adults know, that when you're told you got to do this and you got to do that, everybody's like, no, sorry, not doing it. So we're figuring out the best way to approach people, and with numbers it helps. So we also use the CDC website, and the CDC has everything listed in really easy to read blocks. So if you go into it, you look at it, and currently drowning for ages 1 to 4 is the #1 unintentional injury for that age group. It is the second leading cause for unintentional in ages 5 to 9, which that's quite a few children. And when you look at the numbers for Florida, while our rates might not be that high because the population of children is not very high, our numbers are high, and our numbers have been high, higher than majority of the rest of the country for the last 20 years. So when you look at numbers, just remember that you might not always get the exact story, the exact number, but it'll show you a trend, it'll show you a pattern, and it'll show you where in the state things are happening. You can also start looking at weather data. Sometimes with storms, we get rip currents that people aren't aware of. The state has signs up, the beaches have signs up, lots of communities do their part to get the message out. However, if you don't pay attention to the signs, you don't pay attention to the flags, things happen. So the other two that I work with are MSTARS and First Watch, which are both EMS based. And you have to ask for information. For the First Watch, you have to have a subscription to it. And there are several community members and coalitions I work with that have access to it, so I get their information. And it gives you all of the calls that EMS takes for submersions, and whether they were transported, whether CPR was done on the scene. And it gives you details that you wouldn't normally get in a normal report or just by seeing the numbers. And all of this helps to give you an idea of what is happening in a community. So with drowning statistics, and with any statistics, it's look at each of the sections or look at each of your data points and go, what is the trend I'm seeing? Where is it at? How do we start moving stuff around or fixing messaging to reach certain areas and certain people? And so while we like seeing numbers, they're not always exact. And you've got to remember that they're not always exact. They're not always going to tell the whole story. And while we all want all of the numbers for everything, it doesn't always work out that way. So if you'll move to the next slide, Chris. So here's a little snapshot that I took this week from Florida charts over the last 5 years. And as you see, 2020 and 2021 say provisional. Those have not been certified numbers yet. 2020 should be certified soon. It usually takes about a year or year and a half to get those completely certified as the correct numbers. But as you can see, there's a trend going on from 2016 to 2020. It started to decrease, and then it went back up in 2018 and started to decrease again, and now we're back on a rise. So, and as you see in 2021, the number doesn't match what the Department of Children and Families has. That is the other area is that not all numbers are put in right away. Not all information is put in right then and there during the month. It might get updated in a couple months. It might get updated on Sunday. It just depends on when those systems are, and information is entered into those systems. And then for the MSTARS, what I received from my ask was that 65 and 67 counties entered information, and it's not all inclusive to all EMS systems. It is the ones that participate in the MSTARS program. So those are the calls for submersions, and those are the non-fatal. So those had nothing to do with anybody dying. Those were all the non-fatal calls that EMS received from the participating organizations. And as you see, the number continues to climb year by year by year. We will go to the next slide.
Sorry, Amanda.
No worries. So fatal versus non-fatal. Fatal means death. That is the worst case scenario, the numbers that we don't want to see. That is the numbers that we're seeing right now are trending up, and we want to work on those not trending up. The non-fatal ones are the harder numbers to find. It has, those of you that work in water safety and drowning prevention, you in your local communities, if you work with your EMS and your EMS systems, they may, and your hospitals, they may be able to tell you more accurately of how many cases and how many calls that they've taken for submersions, that are non-fatal. And a submersion with an injury can be either long-term or short-term injuries, but those injuries all have to do with how long they were under, what care was provided, and can be anywhere from traumatic brain injuries to minor cuts and scrapes. And it just depends on what the situation was with the submersion. And then there's also the submersions without injuries, which usually end up being the child is okay, they can go home, they just get checked out. But again, these numbers are the harder ones to find, but would give you more of an idea of how many calls, especially if you can work with your local EMS system, how many calls they receive in a month or in a year, and what they respond to, and do they have to provide CPR, and do they have to transport them? It'll give you a better idea of what's happening in your area. So when looking at data, when trying to figure out what is it you can do in your area, if you don't know of a coalition that is currently in your area, I have some contacts in areas that may be able to help. If you know that, hey, we don't have anything whatsoever and you want to get something started, please reach out. Between myself and my co-chair, Scott Farney at the YMCA, Alliance of YMCAs, we're both willing to help you all get started, give you an idea of what you need to do or who you need to connect with, because you don't need money to start a coalition. You just need people that are like-minded, that have the drive to go, hey, I don't want to see this tragedy happen to anybody. I don't want to see it happen to the kids in my neighborhood. I don't want to see it happen to the kids in my community or to the families in my community, because it becomes a whole family and community issue and not just a one-person issue. So reach out, figure out what it is that you can do, even if it's something small. And I was just recently watching Scott on a webinar, and he said even if you don't do anything but encourage kids to go to some lessons, or make sure that your fence is closed and locked and closed, or if you have the ability to, because there is such a shortage right now due to everything getting shut down last year, become a lifeguard, become a water safety instructor, and teach 3 or 4 hours a week. You will then have helped several kids and several institutions get the water safety out into the people that they need, that need this and that want this, and have had to take the whole year off because the facilities were shut down. And if you need anything from me, again, I'm at the Department of Health, and you're more than welcome to email or call me, and I will help you in whatever way I can.
Thank you, Amanda. Hey, before we leave this slide, I wanted to just see if I could get you to talk a little. Maybe some folks are seeing the word drowning and they're thinking, well, wait a minute, I thought drowning meant death. And so I know you talked a little bit about it, but we're out to try and prevent even those drownings per se that don't result in death. Can you talk just a little bit more? Do you know more about the story and can share what you do know about why we refer to those things as drownings that are fatal and non-fatal?
Sure. So drowning doesn't necessarily mean that you die. It means that you are submerged in a liquid. Whether you breathe it in or not, it depends on how long you've been under. It depends on what your body's response is. And so drowning is the act of being submerged in a liquid. If
Yeah,
somebody reaches out
quite a bit
and
different than what some people may have been used to hearing it as.
sure. Yeah, and because a lot of times everybody's like, oh, they drowned and they died. Well,
Yeah.
that might not be the case. They may have been submerged under the water, not been able to get up. Somebody reached out, picked them up, put them on the side of the pool, asked if they were okay. They spit out a little water and go, yeah, I'm fine, and move along. Well, that's still considered a drowning, but it's a non-fatal without any injuries, and nothing fatal happened with it. Nobody got hurt. It was just oh, I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. And hopefully at that point, the children or the adult that did that will realize I probably should not do that again. And so when you drown, sometimes it is with injuries and sometimes it is fatal. A lot of times it's the somebody spots you fast enough, picks you up, puts you on the side, gets you to safety, checks to make sure you're okay, and then everybody goes about back to swimming again. It's the ones that where when you're not paying attention, you don't have adequate supervision, you don't know what drowning looks like, because that's the bigger issue. Not many people know what drowning looks like.
Yeah.
Drowning is not the, oh, hey, help me, help me, help me. It's quiet, it is silent. A lot of times everybody's eyes will do this and get really big and they won't necessarily be able to call for help. They'll be struggling to try to keep their face and their nose and their mouth above the water so they can breathe in.
Right.
They will not be moving any direction. They will almost be vertical. And the more they struggle against the water, the harder it gets for them to get a breath.
So we shouldn't be waiting for people to yell, help, help, I'm drowning, I'm drowning.
Correct. You should be watching the kids and looking at those eyes, like when they start to panic. And
Yep.
I'm sure everybody that has seen children panic, their eyes get really big and they don't know what to do. And and then the instinct to keep your head above the water to breathe kicks in.
Yeah.
And if you can't keep that head above, you go down really quickly. It can happen within seconds. Within a minute of somebody starting to struggle, it is pretty much they will go down if nobody spots and helps. So
Yeah.
pay attention. Put the phones down. Put the books down. Assign a water watcher. That is the biggest thing. Assign a water watcher. And if the kids aren't supposed to be in the pool, teach them. Go, hey, you got to ask first. We make sure the barriers are up. Make sure the alarms are on. Make sure they're all in good working order. And then learn CPR. I cannot stress this enough. Even if you learn it once or twice, you start to remember, oh, hey, there's safety things I've got to remember, that like something could happen. And
Yeah.
just just be prepared. There are lots of little things you can do around your house to make sure that you already do to keep your kids safe. You put the plugs in the wall so they don't stick their fingers in the outlets. You put the sharp knives and everything up so they can't reach it. You put the locks on the doors. This is just one of those extra safety measures that you can do with your
Prevention. Yeah. Well, thank you, Amanda. That's great. I know that numbers can be really helpful and they can be somewhat deceiving. So I just wanted everybody to have a sense of why the numbers may look different on one place as opposed to how they look on another one. And just to remind everyone, there has to be a reasonable suspicion of neglect. We're talking about mainly for them to even appear on the DCF website. So we know there are a lot that don't make it to that for lots of different circumstances. But I want to use this opportunity and ask you if you'll help me really to talk about our Water Watcher campaign. So for those of you who aren't familiar and who don't already know, we have some great videos on preventchildabusefl.org. Amanda did us a great favor a couple of years ago now, I guess, Amanda, and had the Water Watcher video cut down to 30 seconds so that it can be turned into a public service announcement. It can be aired. So if anybody's interested in that, you can reach out to either of us. But we also have Water Watcher tags and lanyards, and we talk about the barriers in a couple of the videos that we have too, and how important those barriers, adult supervision, keep your eyes on the kid, all of it is like a package deal, so to speak, So I want to make sure people know that when we say keep your eyes on the kids, be a water watcher, we're talking about literally watching them while they are in that water. And I had, unfortunately, an occasion when I was an investigator way back in the early 90s. I got called out on a call on a Sunday afternoon where there was a family gathering. There was a big barbecue, cookout birthday party. And unfortunately, the kids were all in the pool and all the adults assumed that someone else was watching the kids, and the other adults assumed that someone else was watching the kids. And sadly, one child drowned, and it was a fatal drowning. And so, unfortunately, I've seen that impact on people. I've seen, the sad reality around parents who have faced that reality. And we know that some of the folks who have experienced this are some of the best advocates for making sure that you keep your eyes on the kids. So be a water watcher, everybody. Make sure you designate someone, whether that's at a beach or a pool or any setting similar to that. Make sure you know someone is watching the kids at all times, and learn to recognize the signs like Amanda's saying. We don't want that to happen to anybody. So we talk about being a water watcher, and we try to make it fun, but in reality, it's a very serious situation in that we need to make sure we know who's watching them. Anything else you want to add to that part, Amanda?
No, it's just it takes more than just one thing to help keep kids safe in the water. Supervision doesn't always cut it, barriers don't always cut it, but when you start working in combination and putting the layer upon layer of prevention in place,
right,
it becomes safer for everyone.
Yeah,
so, and those water watchers,
yeah. Having redundancy and barriers and supervision and door alarms, and so many of those kids who are on the Department of Children and Families website, you can read about them, and a lot of them walk out of the house or were left unattended or unsupervised, so to speak. So we know what a difference that can make. But redundancy and using the layers, as Amanda says, I think is really one of the best things we can say. Put these into place, and then you'll be more assured that you've done everything you can to prevent a tragedy from occurring.
And there are water watcher tags for lots of organizations. So if Chris runs out, the Wise have them, other drowning prevention agencies have them. We have a digital copy on the Water Smart Florida website. And I unfortunately have run out, so that is on my list of things to get so that we have more. But it's even if you don't print it out, just make sure that there are adults aware that somebody needs to be watching that water when the water activities are going on, and that the barriers need to be up when they're not.
Yeah, I also want to make sure everybody knows you mentioned some of the groups that are working. The Y is doing this. You and I are doing this. Department of Children and Families. There's a huge coalition that's coming together to try to prevent these sad tragedies from occurring. And I think we're really making some progress. So I just want to encourage everybody. If you need ideas, if you want inspiration, you can call on people like Ken. If you need tools and tips and videos and that kind of thing, you can call on Amanda and I. We'll work to get you everything we can to make a difference in your area. And we really want to see people enjoy the water. And Amanda, I know you had a lot of experience in and around the water and working in those careers like Ken mentioned. I think it's just an awesome thing. The waters can really be a healing place for people. I believe it's a relaxation. There's this a thing called the blue mind, and we'll have Ken back at another time maybe to talk about that. But there's a lot of career opportunities for people, whatever walk of life they come from, right? You've done a lot of that kind of thing in your career, right?
I have been a lifeguard now, and I keep my lifeguard certification up for 27 years. I've had it now, and I've been an instructor for 25. And I'm an instructor trainer as well with the Red Cross. So I do teach instructors, and I've gotten the opportunity to travel overseas. I've worked for the Red Cross. Their mission is one of my favorites, is to alleviate human suffering. And when that's done, the Red Cross's job will be done. And so, but it's making sure that we as professionals and that have been in this arena reach out to our communities and go, hey, did you guys know this? And did you know we offer this? And how can we help you? And reaching into the schools and going, hey, great opportunity for kids to start off a career. Many of the people that are lifeguards become EMTs, become firefighters, become police officers, become doctors, become nurses, lots of medical field people. It's amazing where that leads them, because being a lifeguard is a skilled position. You have to learn. You have to know how to swim. You have to know how to make split-second decisions. You have to keep your CPR certification up, and your first aid certification. That was me. I was the first aid person, so I always patched everybody up.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us this morning. And Ken, I want to give you a chance to make any final comments. And one thing I know that you and I have talked about before, I just want to give you a chance to make a comment on too, is that not just the opportunities, but man, you talk about, my experience around the water and being a lifeguard and all that pales in comparison to yours and Amanda's, of course. But I see so much self-confidence that's built and self-esteem that's built from being successful in these types of situations when you make it through a course like that. Not just life-saving, but whether that's CPR or anything, that gives us all a little more confidence. But boy, when I've seen kids 15, 16 years old who have gone through the lifeguard course, or certainly the water safety instructor, the confidence and the pride that I think just helps increase self-esteem and realize that you can help others like that. So Ken, any final comments that you'd like to make?
Well, one of the things I have to say is that there are many, many avenues. All roads kind of lead to Rome. We need to take a multi-sectorial approach towards creating a sustainable program, whereas we can incorporate the concept of the blue mind. We can have restorative justice and community building. We need to have cradle to careers kind of pathways for folks, for the youth, for our communities, and adult programming. We have things like lifeguard candidate schools, or making sure you come in touch with even insurance companies that help sponsor swimming lessons, like Community Care Plan does. You know, you need to have the fear to fun and all that sort of stuff. And swimming methods and rescue techniques are essential to learn.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being with us today. Thank you to everyone who's joined us. We really appreciate it. And I will make this available. It'll be on our website sometime next week. So everybody can come back to it, view it, refer to it for other people. And you'll continue to see information made available through our social media pages, as I mentioned in a couple of the bulletins that we've sent out. Don't forget, let us know if you want to use the videos. They're there for you to be able to share on social media, but we can also make the one that was shortened for television and radio available to you all. So I just want to close by saying, everybody enjoy the summer and enjoy all the things that we have here in our state to be able to get out there and have fun and be with our friends and family this summer. It's a great place for us to be. There's a lot of fun, there's a lot of career opportunities, but we want to make sure everybody's safe while they're doing it and protect those who can't help themselves, especially when there's fear of the water or when there's people who are concerned. We want to let them know that it is a good place to be, and that there is a way that they can do and engage in these activities and be safe at the same time. And keep your eyes on the kids. Keep watch, Florida. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Amanda, Ken. One day I'm going to get you to do the Temptations tour with me, Ken. Thank you all. We appreciate it. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.